Hello everybody, it's Chris Riley here at the Enterprise DevOps Summit in beautiful San Francisco. I am one of the authors for DevOps.com, and I'm sitting here with Gary of Gruver Consulting, and we're going to talk about some of the things that are being faced in the DevOps space, some of the changes. But first, you have a book.
Yeah, my new book, Leading the Transformation. It's an executive's guide for helping them understand how to lead the transformation. Because if engineers go to conferences and figure out how to develop differently, but they go back with that spark of enthusiasm into their organization, and the executives can't figure out how to turn that spark into a flame, and instead the organization puts a wet blanket of change resistance on it, it's going to go out. So there's really a key role that executives need to be playing, and hopefully the book lays the foundation to help them understand that role and be more successful in leading the transformation.
So that's interesting because a lot of times when people talk about DevOps, they talk about the tactics.
Yes.
Right, and how to adopt a tool and get things going, and really adoption is easy, but when it comes down to execution, management needs to be involved.
Well, I like to say it's 30% tools and 60-70% organizational change management, because what you're really asking for people to do is change how they work on a day-to-day basis. And those are the cultural fuzzy changes that you hear talked about. But if you can't get people to embrace the change and really commit to doing that in detail, then you're really not going to get the benefits that you expect by adopting the tools. So yes, tools are part of it and are important, but I think they're a much smaller and the least difficult part. And if you change how people are working on a day-to-day basis, and you need to do that, there's really this coordination across teams that needs to occur if their code needs to be coming together to release and qualify in a unison. And that's kind of the role of the executives that they need to be doing.
And it seems like some sustainability as well. You can get it set up and going, but is it going to last over time?
Yes, and I think a key part of that is this is organizational change management, so you want to make sure you get as many people's fingerprints on it as possible, because they'll make their ideas much more successful than they'll ever make your ideas. So it's this interaction between the executives and the teams to prioritize and make sure they're working on the most important thing, and then coordinating the work across teams to where a large number of teams can come together and develop, qualify, and deploy code that's part of a tightly coupled architecture that has to go out that way.
Great. So I'm going to ask you one final kind of question here. What do you hope that people leave this conference learning, or what's the key takeaway that you hope people walk away with?
I think in the enterprise, one of the key things is that DevOps applies. Releasing more frequently is important and critical to the success of the business, but applying it in a large organization with a tightly coupled architecture with hundreds of thousands of people working together is much different than it is either in a small company or in a company that has loosely coupled architectures like the Amazons of the world and the Googles of the world that allow people to move independently. So thinking that you need to take a different approach, and understanding that the executives really need to own leading and coordinating that work across teams is probably the key takeaway. And hopefully everybody that came here got a copy of my book, so hopefully they'll be spreading the word, and it'll start the conversations, and it'll get people on a similar page with terminology and approaches for how to really improve their software development processes.
Fantastic. All right, well, check out Gary's book, and thanks for sitting down with me for a few seconds here, and hope that everybody's going to enjoy the conference.
Great, thanks. It's great to be part of here, and great to be talking with DevOps.com again.
Thanks.